Right, today we are starting with the cost management chapter. Previous 3 days we spent on schedule. Schedule was important. Cost is also very important, and I hope to cover it today. But if at all it slips to the next day, let's see what happens. But we are with very less time. But anyways, we are trying to utilize it as best as we can. So as such, the chapter of cost has got very less processes, only 4 processes, which I can explain in today's lecture very easily. But there are some associated topics with cost, which usually we teach alongside the cost management, which may take a little bit more time in understanding, as there was some calculations involved in schedule that actually took some time. Similarly, cost has also got some kind of calculation. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, it is 7th chapter of PMB. Okay, and cost management. Naturally, it is the knowledge area which includes the processes involved in planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing, and controlling the cost, so that the project can be completed within the approved budget. The project cost management processes are plan cost management, estimate cost, determine budget, and control cost. First of all, everything to do with the money or costing or financing is to be covered under this chapter, right from the planning till the end of the project while it is being controlled. It is not only the matter of estimation. First of all, we have to plan how we will do everything about cost in the project. So that's where we are going to be creating the cost management plan, and that process would be called plan cost management. So that is the first process. Then it is also the part of planning to have done the detailed estimation. And when I say detailed estimation, this is not the lump sum estimate which we could have created even before the project was ever started. Even at the stage of financial, at the stage of feasibility study, we do have some kind of estimate, but that is not a very good estimate, not a very accurate. That is a lump, which is a lot of approximation. Rather, it is more of a guesstimate, not really that much reliable. But we can't afford to have that kind of unreliability in the project when we are actually trying to do it. So this estimate, which I am going to be creating as a project manager, right in the beginning of the project, must be as detailed as it could be, as accurate and as reliable as it can be. So this is normally created from bottom up. I know the activities. I will create the estimate for each and every activity, and that would include all ingredients, how the various resources are costing, human and non-human, what are the costs of various actions which are going to be taking if we are procuring something, that is also to be estimated. So we develop a very detailed estimate, and this is done by the project manager and his team. So this is the process of developing an approximation of the monetary resources needed to do the project work. Now, I'm why I am still calling it an approximation, because estimate is never something which we are sure about. I can always estimate whenever I move out of my place that I will not spend more than this much money, but there might be some emergency and I may have to spend a little more. Exactly like that, in projects, we are not sure what is exactly going to happen. So, as in detail as possible, we can go and think about, we will plan for that, we will estimate that, And if, God forbid, I have to spend more or less on actual grounds, that would be noted. But that is another story, and that would covered under the controlling of the cost. But as far as creating a best estimate is concerned, the most detailed estimate is concerned, this is estimating. Now, you as a project manager or the team of the project manager, you are supposed to be involved in the process of estimating the cost. That means you have created an estimate, but is it what you are going to be getting? That may not exactly be. Why? Because another body will review your estimate and will make the decision whether you should get this money or not. Naturally, these are the people maybe from finance, maybe from the senior management, but this is not the project team which is involved in determining the budgets. So let us call them some key stakeholders who are responsible for making the decision how much you should get. Now they will determine the budget, and while they are determining the budget, they must understand how the various estimates which have been prepared by you, they are how accurately they are prepared, how justified they are. They will postmortem them, they will aggregate them, they will look at each and every individual activity or work package to establish an authorized cost baseline, what actually should be uh, given for each activity, and this is to be mutually agreed. This is kind of a negotiation between the project team and the budget team. Although we understand the people who are determining the budget are holding more power and they can make whatever decision they want, but at the same time, we don't want it to be an autocratic kind of a solution. We fully agree that if project manager and his team has committed some mistake in their calculation, that must be challenged, and project manager and his team must be allowed to defend themselves. Maybe they have a reason why this calculation was made as it is made, and if they can defend it, probably the determined budget team should not force their decision to cut that budget from there because it is justified. Moreover, the people who are determining the budget, they are also intelligent enough and educated enough to catch you on estimating wrongly, intentionally or unintentionally, and highlight that thing to you. And when you learn the objection, and if you cannot justify that, you probably will have to agree to that, and that way that will be mutually agreed that what budget has been allocated for that activity. Remember, the budget has to be allocated down to the activity level. It is not the lump sum total budget which is to be determined. But naturally, when we will aggregate or sum up the allocated budget for each activity, that will give us the budget, total budget for the project. So, I just wanted to emphasize here that determined budget is not like a fixed amount given to the project, but it must have a proper justification for each and every activity. So both parties will have a time to discuss and negotiate and mutually gain a consensus as to what the budget will be, and then the decision is made. This is the last step in planning, where the budget has been determined and cost baseline is established. So here the baseline is done and planning is considered complete. Now in monitoring and control, the control cost process starts where we monitor the status of the project as we do in scheduling, as we do in any other control, very similar to schedule control, and we update the project costs and manage changes to the cost baseline. These changes could have been called on by any of the change requests coming from any knowledge area, internally or externally. So, if there is a change in human resource and due to that there is going to be an impact on cost, so human maybe the resource management knowledge area moves a change request and that may impact the cost baseline and the cost baseline may get revised. So these three baselines, the scope baseline and schedule baseline and cost baseline, may require to be changed by any reason. And you understand that all the change requests coming from anywhere actually reach to the process perform integrated change control, where the decision for that change is granted there. And accordingly, the project management plan and the project documents can be revised. So this was a brief summary what the cost management is. As we said, as planning, estimation, budgeting, financing. Financing means how much money will be allocated or released, and that is funding. And financing is how from where this money is coming. What is the source? So that may involve the key stakeholders, and those key stakeholders who are actually responsible for financing this project may be part of the budgeting team. Then funding means that when and how much is the money will be allocated to the budget. So this is actually the installment you are getting for the project to do the job. You are not going to be given all the money in the beginning, but naturally some amount of money will be given in the beginning and then after some time some more money will be released. So this is the funding which you are going to be getting, and according to that your project it will be allocated according to the demand of the project. But if it was decided in slightly other way, maybe funding cannot be released till a certain point, then project can only be done that much which can be afforded within that funding. So we'll talk about it a bit. I have explained these four processes. Naturally, the cost management plan, like any other management plan, will establish the relevant policies, procedures, and other documentation for planning, managing, spending, and controlling the project cost. And that would all be recorded in the cost management plan. All the rules and policies you will establish for further calculation, for further estimation, or procedures for determining the budget or controlling the cost. These all instructions are encapsulated in the cost management plan, and that is output of the first step. As in the case of schedule also, we said that these different processes like the cost management plan cost management, and estimate cost and determine budget, they will look like very similar, and sometimes people consider them as one single process. And in some smaller project with smaller scope, they may be considered as one, they may be tightly linked together and may be done by the single person. That does not mean, as we said in schedule, that does not mean that they are one single process. Both processes, cost estimation and cost budgeting, have their own requirements. They have different job to do. They have different tools and techniques to use. So even if the same person is involved in doing both of these jobs, that does not mean that they can be done by, they can be done not considering the relevant instructions for estimating and budgeting. So all the tools which are to be used for estimating, when you are estimating, you must be using that. And when the people who are trying to give you the budget, they making their calculations, because they will also come prepared. They will also have some kind of estimate in their mind. That is kind of that is called the budgetary estimate in their mind. And then naturally, I said that there will be a lot of negotiation and consensus building, and ultimately the budget will be allocated. So these are presented here as distinct processes because we need to understand that different tools and techniques are to be used by each of these processes. The ability to influence cost is greater at the early stages of the project, making early scope definition possible. So what we are trying to do is that, as we said in the scope, that bringing changes to the project as early as possible are cheaper. Why? Maybe I have planned something on paper and that plan is not agreed upon. So what is the cost of changing the plan? Is too less. I just have to put in a little more effort and revise the plan. But what if this mistake is caught when the project is actually being implemented? I have constructed already half of the project, half of the product, and then I realized that the cost estimation was wrong or the budgeting was wrong. And at that stage, if I have to change, then that would have more far-reaching impact on the project, and I will lose more money. The wastage is more. So earlier the changes are brought regarding cost in the life of the project, lesser is the loss. Later it is going to damage our project. We understand that we have already been identifying the stakeholders. We know who the stakeholders are, what are their needs and expectations. We also understand what is more important for this project and for the stakeholders. Maybe the particular stakeholder we are talking about is more interested in time than the cost. Maybe they are much relaxed about the cost, maybe not. So whatever is the temperament of the stakeholder, whatever are the needs and expectations of the stakeholder, we will establish that as a rule, and we will establish the tolerances in schedule, our cost, our scope accordingly. How comfortable we are bringing changes in the project as far as the cost, how much is it damaging for the project. So different stakeholders will look at or will measure the cost in a very different way and at a different time. You know, stakeholders have different interests. There are certain people who are involved with financing, and they may not uh, find the requisite financing at requisite times, and that may elongate the project, thus impacting the duration of the project. And naturally, the project may have to be slowed down according to the uh, expected flow of funding coming in. Maybe some other stakeholders may look at it in a different way. For example, cost of an acquired item may be measured when the acquisition decision is made or committed, right? So, one person is considering it from the time the decision is made about acquiring that particular item. Another person, who is maybe the finance person, he may be considering it when the order is placed. Another person is more concerned about when that item is delivered. So when should it be costed? Everybody may have a different opinion. So this also to be built into the consensus when on the project this money is considered spent. Is it considered spent when we thought that this much money has to be allocated, or when the order is placed, or when the item is physically delivered, or so on and so forth. Primary concern here is with the cost of the resources needed to complete the project activities. Naturally, whatever resources we are using, whether they are human resources or non-living resources like machines and materials and tools and techniques, so those resources will cost us money. So basically, this all is the amount of various resources, living or non-living resources, which makes up the cost of activities, and those activities are summed up to find the cost of the whole project. It should also consider the effect of project decisions on the subsequent recurring costs of using, maintaining, and supporting the product, service, or result of the project. That is very important, because from a financial point of view, it is just not the matter of uh, doing this project. It might be starting right from the business case and the benefit management plan. How are we going to deliver the product of the project, and how it is going to be used in long term? So in our cost benefit analysis, we only did not consider the cost of the project, but the cost of the product, marketing it, and ultimately bringing it into the operations, and our long-term benefit, which balances out our cost with our benefits. So that means it has to be, considered right till the benefits are delivered, as if it remains feasible. So feasibility is also more important here. So, for example, we can limit the number of design reviews, and that can reduce the cost. Then is the predicting and analyzing. Naturally, estimating is a job of prediction. We are trying to guess, no matter how accurately we guess it, but we are always trying to guess how much will it cost us. Everything, the resources, the activities, even the whole project, always we are trying to predict how much will it cost. If our estimates are very accurate, still there is an element of doubt remaining, because we actually cannot predict the future. So all our estimates, or some of our estimates, may go wrong somewhere. Actual facts which will happen on ground will dictate how the tables will be turned. So cost management will be involved in a lot of predicting and analyzing the prospective financial performance of the project's product is performed outside of the project. In others, project cost management can include this. If project cost management includes this, it may address additional processes and numerous general financial management techniques such as return on investment, discounted cash flows, and payback analysis. So this is also something related with the cost, and that's why we are going to study these different tools as well. So this is the cost is not only about the life of the project. We are concerned about the whole cost benefit analysis. So interestingly, cost benefit analysis is a concept which is not only considered in the cost management knowledge area. This is something we will be doing, and we have been doing in everything we do. Right when the project was not even started and we were creating the business case, we still were using some kind of cost benefit analysis. Whenever we make any decision about the project or before the project, that would involve some kind of cost benefit analysis. For example, we are considering risks. We are considering how are the different what are the different options uh, which we can take to encounter or to settle out this risk. Every option will cost some money, and I have to do the cost benefit analysis to find out which is the most appropriate option to take. Similarly, for quality also, if we want to take any quality measures, what does it cost and how will it benefit us? Naturally, there also we may have to resort to the cost benefit analysis. So these methods are not only going to be useful only for cost management, they are going to be useful for every decision we take throughout the life of the project and before and after the project. In our normal life also, we are using these cost benefit techniques all the time. You go for shopping and you are doing this cost benefit analysis at the back of your mind. Maybe you are not specifically considering what method you are using, but you are unconsciously using some cost benefit techniques. The cost management planning effort occurs early in the project planning, as we said, because as early we start planning, more we are protecting ourselves, and it sets the framework for each of the cost management processes so that performance of the project can be monitored. So, as I said, there are four processes, and what all is included in each one of these four processes, what are all the inputs, the tools and techniques and outputs are given on this one slide, and you can have a bird's eye view of what are we going to study. So, we will consider and we will discuss each one of these processes one after the other, and naturally, all the tools and techniques and everything will be discussed subsequently. Before we can go to that, I would like to discuss first uh, the cost benefit analysis are the project assessment types or techniques. Any decision you take, any decision, whether it is a project, whether it is a decision for a non-project activity, any decision you take, that decision has to be assessed on three levels. The topmost and most important level is the strategic assessment. Second level is the technical assessment. And the third level is economic assessment. I am not really talking from the perspective of project here, but anything you assess is normally assessed on these three levels. Naturally, in the order of priority, the most important is the strategic assessment. Second most important is the technical assessment, and the last one is economic assessment. But interestingly, strategic and technical assessment may or may not have to be done, but economic assessment is always going to be there, because whatever decision you take, you will have to spend some money, you will have to do the financing, you will have to be doing the funding, you will have to be spending that money. The cost management will be done ultimately. So economic is the must, whether the strategic assessment or technical assessment matter there or not, but economic assessment will always be there. But if there is some need for technical assessment, that decision of technical assessment may supersede the economic assessment. And if there is a strategic requirement, then strategy takes the precedence over the technical and economical both. So a strategic decision may not be technically feasible, may not be economically feasible, but just for the upkeep of our repo, we may have decided to do something which is not economically or technically feasible. That is possible. If there is no technical strategic restriction, then maybe the technical assessment may dictate and supersede the economic assessment. But if there are no restrictions as far as the strategy and technical assessment is concerned, then ultimately the decision would be taken based on the economic assessment. I am not really talking much about the strategy and technical, because that is not the subject of this specific chapter. But I will just introduce you to what the strategic and technical assessment can be. As far as the strategic assessment is concerned, some typical issues could be the objectives. That is the contribution of organization stated objectives. What are the objectives of the organization? These are the strategic concerns. Your project must be aligned with the organizational objective. If they are not, then probably this project is invalid. It should not be done. So that supersedes no matter how feasible this project is, but if it is not contributing to any of the organizational objectives, that loses the ground to to even be considered to be done. Similarly, other factors may affect, other issues may be there. Your information system plan may dictate strategically whether this project should be done or not. Organizational structure, that also affects how this project is being done. Naturally, that impacts the way the project is done. And maybe sometimes the things which are even not feasible may have to be resorted to. Your MIS plan may affect your personnel, their manning level, their existing employee skill level. That may restrict your options to do the project, but this is a strategic limitation, and therefore you may have to live with it. Or sometimes it is a matter of repo. It is the image you want to keep in front of your customer, and to do that, sometimes you have to go for non-feasible, technically or financially, such projects, such activities which are not considered feasible to be done. But strategically, they are important, and we have to do them by hook or by crook. If we talk about the program management, our portfolio management, as we have already talked about them, and we understand what a program and a portfolio is. In a program has uh, its own collection of projects within it, and they are collectively contributing to some organizational objective. So the strategic importance of the projects within a program increases just by the fact that they are part of a program and a bigger goal. So therefore, the projects in a program may have more strategic importance. If we have well-defined program goals that will contribute towards this strategic goal, all projects, they are selected and tuned to meet organizational goals. Naturally, all the projects within a program are definitely in alignment with the program goal, and program goal is in alignment with the organizational objective. But even if the projects are independent of a program, they are standalone projects, they still have to be governed by some organizational policy and organizational objectives. And therefore, this is the strategic concern uh, for the definition and existence of the project. Then the viability, timing, resourcing, and final worth of a project may be affected by the program itself. So program is an overriding concern, is a strategic concern for the project. So this is a matter of strategy for the project. Value of any project is increased by the fact it is part of a program, and strategic assessment of proposed project is sponsor is going to be involved for that. If there is no program on top of the project, proposed project evaluated within the context of organizational overall objectives. So this is how the strategy affects the existence of a project. If we look at it from the portfolio management point of view, just consider a portfolio manager who has many options, who has many projects and programs under him, and he has to make decision which projects and programs have to be done. And he will naturally be looking at it from the strategic as well as operational point of view. He will be doing his own assessment for that. But he will have his own objectives to meet in accordance with the organizational objectives, and that would be investment related strategy decisions. So he will look at it from that angle. He will have the consistency with his own strategic plans, part of portfolio of ongoing and planned objectives, whether this project or program should form part of the existing portfolio or it is not feasible to do this project or a program at this stage? Maybe it is not feasible. This is again a strategic decision whether a project or program should be done or should not be done at a specific point of a project. Possible effects on other projects in the portfolio. If we do this project, we start this project, how will it impact the other portfolio, content of the other portfolios, other projects and programs which are going on naturally? This new project is going to be demanding some resources, and those resources may have been committed on more important projects currently running in the organization. So, portfolio may or may not decide to give you those resources. This is again a strategic decision. There will be a competition for resources, and portfolio manager will have to decide accordingly what resources have to be given to what project and which project is more important in priority. Overall portfolio profile specialization versus diversification is again a strategic concern. So these could be some of the strategic concerns, and that is why some strategic decisions may supersede even the technical feasibility or the financial feasibility of the project. As far as the technical feasibility is concerned, technical assessment is concerned, some of the concerns here are like evaluating the required functionality against the hardware and software available. Whatever you are trying to do you have that kind of hardware and software resources technically available to you? If not, then your options will be restricted technically. Existing strategic information systems plan, how the technology was supposed to be laid out in the organization. Is it in alignment with that strategic plan? If not, then again, there is a technical restriction on that. Limitations on the nature of a solution. How a solution will ultimately be laid out, and if there are certain limitations, like you cannot do it for more than this much time, then probably this limitation could also affect the decision to do a project or a program. Then we have other constraints which could influence the cost of the solution. So these are from the technical side, we have these concerns. From the economic assessment point of view, which is most important for us, which is most closer to our heart, and we said that even if there is no strategic problem, no strategic or technical restriction or limitation on us, ultimately the decision would be taken by the cost benefit analysis, by the economic assessment, and the most famous tool for that is the cost benefit analysis. So this is most common way of carrying out the economic assessment, comparing expected costs with the benefits of having it in place, whether the estimated costs are exceeded by the estimated income and other benefits, comparison with other projects for priority and scarce resource allocation. So what are the steps in cost benefit analysis? First of all, we need to identify and estimate all the costs and benefits of carrying out the project, meaning what all we are going to be spending in doing this and what all will be the ultimate benefits we are going to gain out of it. So that's exactly why I said this is beyond the project, because the benefits in projects, normally we spend money. The benefits start yielding either towards the end of the project or even far off after the project has been delivered. So, a project's feasibility is done based on that. Whatever are going to be the costs of doing this project and whatever are the benefits in long run, maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. So all those benefits which we ultimately yielded, that are to be considered, and that comparison will tell us whether we should be going for this project or not. If the benefits are less than the cost, this is not feasible at all. So what all costs could be there? There could be developmental costs of the project, the operating cost when this project is completed and handed over to the operations. How much would be the operating cost? How much money will be spent on running this job? And the benefits which will be accruing subsequently. They must also be estimated. As compared to the existing system, only increase to the new system or the betterment to the new system or the benefits of the new system should be more, which makes it more feasible. So, expressing cost and benefit in common units, the formula would be the net benefit should be the total benefit we get minus the total cost we spend, meaning the answer, if positive, is indicating a feasible solution. And if the benefits are not more than the total cost, then ultimately, if the net benefit goes zero or minus, then it is not feasible. Whether we are doing this, the total cost and total benefits must be considered in the same units, in financial units, essentially money. So we understand that some of the benefits or most of the benefits may not be translatable to money. It could be a benefit, you will feel good about it or you will feel pleased about it. That could be a benefit. But how will you know that this is justified for the cost spent? So somehow you have to convert even the intangible values to the money value as if to compare them in the net benefit formula to find the feasibility. So what are the costs and what are the benefits? Total cost will be made up of all of these costs: developmental cost, setup cost, and the operational cost. Developmental cost is the cost of the development of the idea. When the inception of that project or the idea of that project was considered and how it was developed, how that idea, all the money which was spent in preparing for that idea to materialize. Setup cost is when we have decided to go for it. I mean, it has been found feasible, and now you are going to be spending money to do it. Then acquisition, installation, and all the project work actually happens during the setup thing. So all the money spent in putting putting up the project or putting up the system. And operational cost is when the system has been put up, running the system for that many years, that would cost something. So this is called the operational cost, and ultimately it will start yielding certain benefits. So those, if we add up all the costs, the development cost, the setup cost, and the operational cost, that makes up the total cost. And if I add up all the benefits, they will give me the total benefits. And if I subtract total cost from total benefit, I'll get the net benefit. So what are the benefits? There are three types of benefits. One are the direct benefits, which were actually targeted for what we expected to come out of this project. Right? If you were constructing a house, the house will be the ultimate benefit, according to that scope and everything. So that would be accessible. The direct benefits are usually accessible. How much will the cost? How much will be the house can be sold for? How much will has it costed me so far, and in how much money it can be sold for? So that is something which is a direct benefit to me. Then we have got some indirect benefits which are accessible. Like, if once I have completed this house, and naturally the house naturally pays me some money, but there are some materials which have been left out or which have been waste material or something, which now are to be disposed of, and they also will yield some benefit or money. And such like things are called accessible indirect benefits. Maybe some items you have created during the construction of the house can separately be yielding some money to us. That would be accessible, but indirect benefit. That was not actually asked for. That was not the house itself. That is, in addition to house, I have created some byproduct, and that byproduct is giving me some certain benefit. Then there are some intangible benefits which cannot really be measured in tangible terms, like, you feel uh, comfortable or happy about having this house. you feel satisfied, or your workers feel well adjusted, or something like that. Such like intangible benefits will also be there, although in financial terms they are not considered to find the cost benefit analysis. But from project point of view, these things do matter for us. We need to give some monetary value to the satisfaction, to the level of job interest, to whatever we have gained out of this project, because we are going to be doing more projects and our people are getting more experience. That is also a tangible benefit, and it is going to contribute towards our next working and next project. So therefore, intangible benefits, if possible, can also be converted into monetary values and added up to the total benefits. So, in the next slide, you will see a diagram which is not really very conventional diagram, but generally, when you take any initiative, like a project or even you start up a business, initially, your expenses are more. Initially, your expenses are more. Your spending is more. So, cost is being spent, or in other words, you can say is being invested. So this diagram shows the expenditures below the line and income over the line. So initially you will be just spending, and the money you are spending is going to be increased on the negative side. But then you see the curve is slightly tilted. That means you have started gaining some benefits, but they are so minute that your actual expenditures are still going on, and they are more than the medicinal benefits you have started receiving even now. Then there is a point when you have spent this much money, but you are not spending more money, or you are spending less than what you are gaining. You understand my point? But meaning what? That your daily expenses and daily benefits. I'm sorry for the loss of voice. जी शरियार.
नहीं सर, वो वॉइस डिस्कनेक्ट हो गई थी बीच में.
Okay, okay. So in this diagram, you can see a lowest point of expenditure. That is the point where naturally you have spent or invested some money till now on that project or that business. But at this point, you are whatever you are spending on daily basis, you are getting benefits equivalent to that. Although the money you have spent so far is not being recovered, but at least you are not increasing your expenditures any further, because whatever you are expending, that much you are gaining. So you are at this point, at the lowest point, no more expenditures are going on actually as a net result. The net, you are not no more spending anything. Then suddenly you start, your expenditures are exceeded by the benefits. That is the point this graph starts rising, and you start recovering the money you have invested. And if you keep moving up on this graph, you will reach a point of what do you call it, uh, break even. The point where the line crosses the 0 point, the trough is complete. This is the point all the money you have spent on the project has now been recovered, right? And from now on, even if you are making some expenditures on this work, your benefits are far exceeding it. And therefore, your overall benefit is going up. Your graph will reach a plateau. Normally, for every business or everything you do, this will reach a plateau beyond which This is called the law of diminishing returns, beyond which you cannot improve. So at that stage, you will try to retain yourself as long as possible. All the effort you put in will keep you on top. That is the benefit you want to retain, you want to keep achieving. But naturally, there is no business, no project, or no initiative which can be forever. And ultimately, slowly and steadily, your business starts losing its value until its life is expired. And at that point, even if you invest more money, that is not going to retrieve your business. That may achieve a break point and then it will just be extinguished. So this is a typical product life cycle cash flow. So you can generally observe how the things happen in this. Any questions so far? Please raise hands. Okay, no questions? Okay, then let me move ahead. As far as cash flow flow forecasting is concerned, uh, what do you understand a cash flow is? I have mentioned it when we were studying the schedule. I did talk a little about cash and how the cash flows are built. Uh, can anyone help me recapitulate that? Please raise hands if you can tell me how the, yeah, Shahriyar.
सर बेसिकली कैश फ्लो में दो टाइप होती हैं, कैश इन कैश आउट होता है।
Mhm.
तो किसी भी यानी कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में किसी भी पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे आप हमें ये अंदाज़ा लगाते हैं कि किस टाइम पे कैश आ रहा है और आउट हो रहा है,
Right.
ताकि आप अपने एक्सपेंसेस का अंदाज़ा लगा सकें और फोरकास्ट कर सकें
Okay.
फर्दर प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए जो है। तो कैश एट हैंड आई मीन उससे अंदाज़ा होता है कि कंपनी का कैसा है जो है,
Okay.
उसकी बेस पे आप बजट फोरकास्टिंग वगैरह और चीज़ें कर सकते हैं।
The interesting part is that this cash flow forecasting is done before anything has ever happened. You have not spent a single penny. You are just planning, and you should have a kind of a cash flow forecast available with you. When am I going to invest how much money? When it will start yielding results? When I'll reinvest in this? And that is kind on daily basis or on some periodic basis. How much money is, how much cash is flowing in? How much cash is going to be flowing out? This is all assumptions. This is all estimation. We think that this will happen, but this has yet not happened. Actually, what will happen, that is in far off into the future. So it is called a forecast because I am assuming, due to I have definite reasons for that. I have definite algorithms for that, and I somehow calculate that on this project, on this date, I would have spent this much money, and I would have got this much benefit, and this much money in, this much money out, this much money in, this much money out. So I can have this kind of a graph created out of it, how the money will be spent during the life of the project. If you remember, when I was telling you, I was discussing the schedule with you. I said that if you have the cost estimates of every activity available, you can create a cost baseline based on that. That how much money would be spent at that point in time. Cumulative amount of amount can be estimated. I made two graphs there. You remember? One was which was like a bell shape, in which one was like this, and the other was like this. So the upper graph was the graph of this cash flow, cumulative cash flow forecast graph, and the lower graph was not cumulative, that is expenses on daily basis or monthly basis or whatever the periodic is. So periodic spending per week, per month would create a diagram, the lower diagram. But if I convert it to a cumulative graph, that how much money should have been spent by this point, how much money should have been spent by this time, ultimately it will keep rising, and ultimately it will reach the end point, which will determine me my total budget. So this kind of cash flow forecasting will require to be done. So accurate cash flow forecasting is not easy. We are um, trying to guess the future. It's neat, but the problem is we have to do it, and we have to do it as soon as possible, as early in the project life cycle. So as if I can have some idea how the things will be working, and the benefits which are ultimately going to come out of it are going to be some years past into the future. So I am just investing on an assumption, and that assumption should be a good, strong one. Good cash cost benefit analysis should have been done, as if I can accurately try to estimate when the benefits are going to be coming. We usually ignore the effect of inflation as it increases uncertainty. Why? Because when I'm doing the cash flow forecasting, uh, although I'm not rejecting that inflation must or must not be considered, but I am just saying that if I'm comparing five projects and I want to find which is the better one, if there is some effect of inflation on one project, the same effect will be on the second, third, and fourth and fifth project as well. So, what is the fun of considering inflation and getting the calculations even more difficult? So, let us disregard the impact of inflation and see how these projects compare with each other. Generally, this point may not be very well understood by people, but if you are comparing which project is the best project, then probably inflation does not matter, because that is a common factor to all, and therefore may be ignored. If expenditure increases, so does the income. So naturally, it is not. You usually have heard that for bigger things you have to take bigger risks. So if you want to gain something big, then probably you have to invest big money into that. So if the expenditure increases, then your income or your benefits will also be impacted by that. Okay. Now I bring you to an example. Look at this example. These are four projects: Project 1, Project 2, Project 3, Project 4. Let us have some assumptions here. Let us consider that we are trying to compare these four projects, and by chance, all of these projects are of equal duration, 5 years each. Just for easy calculation, we have done them, taken them of the same duration, although projects may not be of same duration. And another assumption is that the only investment we put into this project, each project, is in the beginning. We are not going to invest any further. So, first project on year zero, in the start of the project, first project will have 100,000 investment. So it is, because it is investment, so it is shown in negative. Second project has 1 million investment. Third project has 100,000 investment. Fourth project has 120,000 investment. Now they start yielding benefits. The benefits coming at the end of 1 year for project 1 is 10,000. For project 2 is 200,000. For project 3 is 30,000. For project 4 is 30,000. And similarly, the benefits are the income, or whatever you want to call it, of the second year and third year and fourth year and fifth year. So this is the layout of all the benefits coming to us in the next 5 years. So the total cost is the investment we did in the very beginning. We are not investing any further in between. And the total benefits, if we sum up all the positive values, that will give me the total benefits. And if I subtract the total cost, which is 100,000 in first project, from the total benefits, that will give me the net profit. So what I have received, what are the benefits coming from project 1? 10, 10, 10, 20 and 100. So that means 150,000 I have benefited from project 1 in 5 years. And how much was spent on it? It was 100,000. So 150 minus 100,000 comes out to be net profit is positive 50,000. Similarly, second project, the net profit is 100,000. Third project, the net profit is 50,000. And fourth project, the net profit is 75,000. So you see that the basic formula tells us that net profit is equal to total cost minus total benefit. According to that, which project is best for us? Anyone who wants to contribute? Which is the best project from net profit point of view? Ji Azim,
Project 2.
project 2 seems to be the best project. And what are your arguments to that?
Because we recovered all the investment and we have the highest ratio of profit, highest profit out of it,
Highest
net
profit.
profit.
Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. So, anybody who can tell me what is the worst case, which are the worst projects? You please raise hand. What is the worst project? Again, let's give chance to Mohsin. Mohsin, which is the worst project? जी मोहसिन मोहसिन आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही वी कांट हियर यू जी
Sir, can you hear me now?
yeah.
Sir, according to the net profits, it seems like project 1 and project 3
Right.
are the worst scenarios
Okay.
based upon the net profit point of view.
Based on the net profit, right. Now, I will ask Shahryar to tell me, is he okay with this kind of estimation? जी Shahryar.
सर एक्चुअली इसमें अदर फैक्टर्स भी हैं जो कि इसमें क्लियर नहीं है। वैसे बज़ाहिरी तौर पे तो देखें तो ठीक है, प्रोजेक्ट 2 लगता है, लेकिन
Right.
उसमें कई फैक्टर्स हैं इसमें कंसिडर नहीं है, लाइक इंटरेस्ट रेट नहीं है, नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू नहीं है, तो
Okay.
हम एग्जैक्टली बता नहीं सकते कौन सा बेहतर है।
So,
लेकिन अगर आप नेट प्रॉफिट के लिहाज से देखें, प्रोजेक्ट 2 है, प्रोजेक्ट 1 इसलिए सर वर्स्ट है कि आप देखें मेजर पोर्शन रिकवरी आपकी 5th ईयर पे हो रही है।
नहीं,
और
नेट प्रॉफिट का तो फॉर्मूला यही था, वो तो हमने लगा दिया और उसके हिसाब से तो ये बेस्ट साबित हो गया है। ये कोई और वजह आप बता रहे हैं, आप जो बता रहे हैं वो कोई और वजह है।
सर मैं नेट प्रॉफिट के लिहाज से एग्री करता हूँ कि प्रोजेक्ट 2 बेस्ट है,
एग्जैक्टली,
ठीक है, लेकिन मैं बस एक चीज और रैशनल एक दे रहा था, एक अलग एंगल देखने का।
जी जी
कि आप प्रोजेक्ट 1 में देखें, अगर नेट प्रॉफिट की बात नहीं इधर मैं कर रहा कि उसमें 5th ईयर में एज कम्पेयर टू अदर सबसे ज्यादा रिकवरी 5th पे हो रही है आपकी कॉस्ट की,
बिल्कुल,
तो इसलिए भी ये वर्स्ट है।
बिल्कुल, आपने ये पॉइंट ये रेज कर दिया, बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट दिया आपने। एंड अजीम, आप बताइएगा, व्हाट इज योर आर्गुमेंट, व्हाट इज सो बैड अबाउट इट?
सर अगर हम वो देखें कि कॉस्ट टू बेनिफिट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, तो फिर प्रोजेक्ट 1 और प्रोजेक्ट 3 आर द बेस्ट आई थिंक। बट
ये मतलब क्या,
इवन
व्हाट इज
मतलब हम इन्वेस्टमेंट देखें,
व्हाट इज
इन्वेस्टमेंट हमारी cost to benefit,
Cost to
I
benefit,
think.
नहीं खैर टर्मिनोलॉजी तो
Right?
ऐसी
या
कोई इधर में
या इन्वेस्टमेंट और रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट उस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अगर देखें कि 1 लाख की
ओके
इन्वेस्टमेंट पे हम
यस यस
50,000 यानी 50% रिकवर एडिशनल प्रॉफिट आ रहा है हमें,
सो
जबकि प्रोजेक्ट 2 में 10% आ
you
रहा
are
है.
talking about return on investment, and that
Yes.
means the investment which has been put into each project is not considered in net profit. इन्वेस्टमेंट
Yes.
को सिर्फ इसलिए इस्तेमाल किया गया कि प्लस माइनस करने के लिए, अदरवाइज ये नहीं देखा जा रहा कि प्रोजेक्ट 2 is the maximum investment, is 10 times more investment than project 1, but it is
Yes.
yielding only twice more than project 1. The net profit is twice more.
Yes.
So this is no good
Yes.
thing. That means
Yes.
there are other ways possible to look at it. But naturally, net profit is one of the ways which may not be very good, but this is one way of doing the cost benefit analysis. Right? Agreed?
Yes.
Okay, let us see what are the other different ways we can do it. जी शहरजार, आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं?
सर इसमें पिछले में जो नेट प्रॉफिट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में एक जो चीज मिसिंग थी ना सर, वो कि टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी का अंदाजा नहीं लगाया जा सकता उससे.
Exactly. So we
तो
are जी जी
ये एक हाँ जी
we are
जी
going
सर, बस यही
we are
कहना
going to
चाहूंगा.
talk about that. So what are the various things we can do with it? What are the different methods? So we have got five different methods, and there may be more, but we are going to talk about these 5 methods. One I've already discussed with you is the net profit. Another one is payback period. None of you have mentioned the payback period, which is the project paying me back the earliest. My investment is received back the earliest might be the best project. I'm not saying that this is the only requisite for declaring the best project, but this might be one way of considering. If I have taken loan out of a bank, then my first priority is to pay back the loan, right? So I am not really much concerned about what the profit I am getting, but I should get rid of the loan, and therefore I am more interested how soon can I pay back the bank. So payback period may be a deciding factor in some cases. Then, as you said, return on investment. I am putting in this much money, and I am getting out of it. So that will change the whole scenario. The net profit thing may look not really very good choice for us when we look at it, the return on investment. But I will prove to you that even the return on investment is a little small improvement to the net profit. This is not the ultimate solution. You see, every subsequent method is going to be more accurate. Net profit was very approximate. Payback period is naturally from the point of paying back the loan, our investment. This is good. Then we are talking about the investment, how much investment was put in, and as compared to the investment, what is the benefit? So that is return on investment. And net present value is the time value of money. This is where the things start getting very interesting. Time value of money will actually show you that the benefit you are getting in the fifth year is not actually the real benefit. The real benefit today, the time value of money, which of that money which is coming after 5 years, today is worth much lesser. So that will open up the floodgates of another way of thinking. And last but not the least is the internal rate of return, which is a further improvement on net present value, and I'll discuss that when the time comes. So we have got these 5 methods. We have already talked about the net profit, and in net profit, what you have seen is that the net profit figures show project 2 to be the best with 100,000. Second number is 75,000, project 4, and project 1 and 3 seem to be the worst. But has it considered have you considered that project 1 and project 3 both are giving the same net profit, but the method of recovery in each is different? Project 1 is recovering money very slowly, only 10,000 in the first 3 years, then 20,000 in the fourth year, and big money in the fifth year, 100,000 rupees. Whereas project 3 is consistently delivering 30,000. So if I would have looked at it from the point of view of payback, then probably project 3 may have a better payback pattern. So the 100,000 rupees which is being recovered in project 3, they are being recovered in, say, a little more than 3 years. And in project 1, for 4 years, we have not recovered half the money. It is into the 5 years that we get the remaining money. So why are they shown equal here? So net profit cannot differentiate between projects. The pattern of payment is not considered there. And a lot many other things. Project 4 is again showing a very good pattern, but it is showing a bigger income at the end. Project 2 is showing a consistent income and a little more income in the end, but uh, overall the money which is coming out of it is very less from the if we compare it with the investment. Just compare 50,000 of project 1 with its investment 100,000. Compare 100,000 with 1 million. Compare project 3 50 with 100. Compare project 4 75 with 120. Then probably other methods will be able to resolve this problem. In a payback method, in a payback period, you can see, as I said before, uh, project 1 is going to be paying back in the fifth year. Project 2 is also going to be paying back in the fifth year. Project 3 will take a little more than 3 years, and Project 4 will exactly take 4 years to recover money. So if I look at it from the payback period point of view, probably Project 3 is the best one, second best is the Project 4, and then, the Project 1 and 2 comes in. But you see, this is not the whole perspective. Payback period has just shown me who is recovering me the best, the earliest. It does not show which is giving me more benefit. Therefore, though this method is good for reimbursing the funding, the loan, but this may not be good enough for other reasons. Moving on to the return on investment. In return on investment, we just take the net profit of a project, and naturally it has been yielded out of a number of years. In 5 years, we have a net profit of 50,000. We compare this 50,000 with the investment. So if we have achieved this 50,000 in 5 years, then what is the share of each year on average? Average profit per year is 10,000. If I divide this 10,000 with the total investment, it will give me a percentage of yearly profit, right? So this is return on investment, which is average annual profit divided by total investment multiplied by 100 is giving me the return on investment. Now, it is also called accounting rate of return, ARR. It provides a way of comparing net profit with your investment. And the formula also I have shown you. If you can calculate the first case, it would be 10,000 by 100,000 into 100, 10%. Second project will yield 2%. Third project will yield 10%. and the fourth project will yield 12.5%. So this is the first time we realize that project 4 is probably the best. And we realize that project 2, which was considered to be giving the maximum net profit, is actually the ROI of that project is only 2%. So that is the worst project. But what we could not distinguish till now is the difference between project 1 and project 3, because we know there is a difference between project 1 and project 3. One of them is better than other. But here, because we have taken the profit as the average profit, which is going to be the same, 10,000 for each, so the 10% is going to be the ROI for both the projects. So what it does not do, ROI is not good because it is not considering the time value of money. So ROI is also not a very good method. It is just a slight improvement over the net profit, although it did uh, expose project 2 to be the worst one, and it indicated the project 4 having better performance as far as ROI is concerned. But still, there are other ways to look at the problem. So for that, let's move on to the net present value. Now, before I can discuss the net present value, are you aware what is cumulative, what do you call it, compounded interest? Anyone who can explain what is a compounded interest? जी फैसल भाई. फैसल आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है, नॉइज बहुत ज्यादा है. अच्छा, okay Faisal, you might be right, but we can't hear you properly. So let me ask this question from someone else. Anyone else who can explain what is compounded interest? Sayyid Mohsin.
Sir, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, of course.
Sir, in simple words, I can say interest on interest is known as compound interest.
Wonderful, wonderful.
For example, आपने 100 रुपये किसी को दिए और आपका जो इंटरेस्ट रेट था दैट वाज 10%.
Okay.
पर एनम आपके पास 110 रुपीज हो गए. फॉर द सेकेंड ईयर आप वो 110 रुपीज के ऊपर इंटरेस्ट 10% चार्ज करेंगे.
Wonderful.
और whatever the answer would be for the third year, वो जो उसका होगा इंटरेस्ट भी उसमें इंटरेस्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट सिंपल वर्ड्स में मेरी जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है
बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल
इसी तरह से आप उसको ग्रो करते हैं.
You are exactly right. Mohsin and Faisal, you are both right. Now, someone tell me, if you invest 100,000 rupees in a bank, which gives you an interest, compounded interest rate of 10%, what will be the money you expect to be there at the end of 2 years? Anyone who will calculate that? How much will you get at the end of 2 years? You can write down your answers in the chat window. I'm looking at the chat window. Or you can also raise your hands if you like to answer on voice. I'm waiting for your answers. 100,000 rupees you have invested. at the rate of 10% interest rate is 10%, what are you going to get at the end of 2 years? Okay, Faisal says 1,21,000. Anyone who differs with him, anyone who thinks this is wrong. Okay, at the end of 1 year, the money will become 1,10,000. G Mohsin.
सर ये 10% 1 लाख के ऊपर था या 1,000 रुपीज के ऊपर था?
1 lakh.
1 लाख. अच्छा, I understood कि ये 1,000 है. ठीक ठीक.
So by the end of first year, you will have in your account 110,000 rupees because 10,000 has been added to it. And then this 110,000 rupees keeps lying in the bank for another year. So your original 1 lakh rupees will yield another 10,000 rupees. And the interest of last year, which was 1,000, will also yield 100 rupees. So that means now you have got 100,000 plus 2 times 10,000 for 2 years and 100 rupees for your last year's interest. So that makes it 121,000 rupees. And if you are going to consider for the third year also, that would be another 20,000 from the original amount, and the 20,000 amount will give you another 2,000, right? And the 100 rupees will give you another 10 rupees. You see, this is how this, if you add them all, this comes out to be 133,210, something like that. So this means your money keeps multiplying. The interest on interest will keep adding, and ultimately you can calculate the compounded interest. Now this is very easy. We calculated it just on very small figure, and we state formulas, and then we calculate first year, second year, third year, fourth year. But if I ask you what will it be after 15 years, then what is your answer? Is there a formula for calculating that? How can you calculate what will be the compounded interest after 15 years on your 100,000 rupees? How much money will it become? Anyone who can help me with that? Ji Janab, the people who are very silent, Asim, Imran, Nikhat, Sufyan, Tausif, जी बताइए. Ji Asim, can you tell me what is your idea? How would we calculate the interest of 100,000 rupees, the ultimate amount coming out of 15 years at 10% compound interest? Ji Asim. Imran? Anyone? Okay, it means that you probably don't know. Let us say I want to find the future value of this money. So the future value, let me call it, जी मोहसिन आप बताइए।
सर 1 लाख रुपए पे 10% कंपाउंडेड इंटरेस्ट के साथ 15 साल के लिए 4,45,391 रुपए बनेंगे।
Wonderful. So let us confirm this. So the future, I'm just writing over it. Future value is equal to present value multiplied by 1 plus interest rate raised to the power year number of years. Can you note this formula? This is for compounded interest. Future value is equal to present value into 1 plus I is the interest rate, and raised to the power n is the number of years, which is going to be 15 in this case. Okay, can you see this clearly now? Okay, so my amount was 100,000 multiplied by 1 plus 10% raised to the power 15. Is it what it is? So 1 plus 10% means 1 plus 10 by 100, which means 1.1. So if you can do 100,000 multiplied by 1.1 raised to the power 15, can you all calculate this? 100,000 multiplied by 1.1 raised to the power 15. Give me the answer. Yes, please. I want all of you to calculate and give me the answer. Ji Janab, as soon as anyone is ready, please let me know. We already have received one answer already. That is 41774.8169. This is the answer we get. So your 100,000 rupees, if it keeps lying in the bank at the rate of 10%, after 15 years, it will become 4,17,724 rupees and 82 paisas. You understand how this is calculated? Right. If you have understood that, let me take you to a roller coaster journey back to the reality. This is when I have money today and I am investing it in the bank, and after a couple of years, I want to find the future value. What I am trying to teach you here is just the exact opposite of compounded interest. Right? Are you with me? Please raise hands if you are following me. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let us reverse this formula. It was initially the formula was future value is equal to planned value multiplied by 1 plus I raised to the power n. So what will be the present value if I want to calculate the present value? It will be equal to the future value divided by 1 plus, let me write here r in place of I and t in place of n. I'll tell you why. So my present value, if I am expecting 100,000 rupees 1 year later, then the present value of that 100,000 rupees would be 1 plus R. R is the reverse of discount rate. Sorry, it is the reverse of interest rate. If we are moving forward, then it is interest rate. When we are moving backwards, it is called a discount rate. जी शेयर यार.
सर वो पिछली कैलकुलेशन में जब हम फ्यूचर वैल्यू निकाल रहे थे तो एक्यूमुलेटिव इंटरेस्ट रेट था, राइट सर?
जी कम्युलेटिव,
ये जो फॉर्मूला है एक्यूमुलेटिव इंटरेस्ट रेट था वो.
जी वो जी हाँ, कंपाउंडेड इंटरेस्ट. दैट वाज कंपाउंडेड इंटरेस्ट.
कंपाउंडेड, सॉरी कंपाउंडेड इंटरेस्ट. बस सर यही मैंने कंफर्म करना.
नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट the present value. Present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus R. R is the replacement of interest rate, because if we are moving forward to interest, we get interest. But if we are moving backward, there should be some reversal of interest. That is called discount. This is the discount rate. R is the discount rate. And I just replaced N with T just for fun. T shows time here, the number of years, right? So everything else is same. But let me explain here one more thing, and that is, what is the difference between interest rate and discount rate? You see, if you put your money in the bank and on a compounded rate, bank will apply the interest rate on that. But if you take loan from the bank will charge you higher. Bank will charge you higher. So they will give you, they will charge discount rate. And the difference, and on any one day, announced by the State Bank of Pakistan, there is a interest rate and a discount rate standard for all the banks. So the difference between the two is basically what a bank earns. And bank earns from many people, and therefore they are rich people. This is only the legal aspect of it, the state aspect of it, that you have placed your money in the bank and bank is giving you interest. He is giving that money as a loan to someone, and that person is paying back something to the bank, and ultimately bank is giving you 10% interest and keeping some money for itself. That would count for the maintenance or management of the bank. This is a simple story, but actually this is not what is happening. Bank is not only giving your money away as loans, but bank is physically investing it into live businesses, shares, and a lot many business opportunities. And from there, it is not only earning the discount factor, it is actually earning much more than that. You see, uh, whatever is the discount rate and interest rate right now in the market, say it is 6 or 8%, very low it is now, 6% or 8%, less than that. So if you put your money in the bank, you don't get nothing about it. But if you are a businessman, you would never ever like to keep your money in the bank, because if it is always better to reinvest the money, because when you reinvest in your business, you are not expecting 6%. You are expecting like 100 to 200 or 300%, right? Maybe, you are expecting to double your money in 2 years or 3 years, or maybe triple your money in next 3 or 5 years. So therefore, those rates are way different. The business gives you much more benefit than the bank can give you. This is the discussion I would like to have saved from, other aspect. But let us first talk about it, and then we'll move ahead. Okay. Now my star question. Say you are expected to receive 100,000 rupees after 1 year. Listen to my question very carefully. If you are expected to receive 100,000 rupees after 1 year and the discount rate is 10%, what is the present worth of that money? Ji, please, anyone who wants to answer that. Ji, raise hands. Ji, Shahriyar. जी जनाब.
ये सर आवाज आ रही है?
जी जी आ रही है.
सर ये 90,909.
ओके. 90,909.1 ऐसे ही है.
यस सर.
Right. So anyone who differs from him, anyone who does not agree with that, ये 909 कैसे बन गया? जी बाकी लोगों से पूछ रहा हूँ. Why is it not 90,000? 10% ही रिड्यूस हुआ ना जी, तो 90,000 होना चाहिए था. ये क्या चक्कर हुआ है? प्लीज कंट्रीब्यूट, थोड़ा इंटरेक्ट करें ताकि सबको समझ आए. इसका समझ नहीं आएगी. जी सुफियान, आप बहुत खामोश बैठे हुए हैं. व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन? जी सुफियान, अनम्यूट कीजिएगा अपना माइक और बताइएगा कि ये 90,909 ये कहां से निकाल के लिए हैं? ओके. सो हुआ ये है जनाब कि यू हैड 100,000 डिवाइडेड बाय 1 प्लस आर, तो वही बनेगा ना 1.1 raised to the power 1. So if you can divide 100,000 by 1.1, it will give you this answer. 90,909, or you can call it 910, whatever you want to say, but exactly it is 90,909.1. So rather, if you want to go in more detail, it is 0.09091, right? Okay. So मुझे बस इतना बता दें कि समझ आई है बात, क्या नहीं आई है. प्लीज रेज हैंड if you have understood this. Azim understood, Shahryar understood, Faisal, good, everybody understood. سفیان آپ کی طرف سے بڑی خاموشی ہے. ایک دفعہ بول کے دکھا دیں کہ آپ ادھر موجود ہیں. پروف آف لائف. جی ٹھیک ہے. اوکے جی, اگر سمجھ آ گئی ہے تو بہت اچھی بات ہے. دیٹ از ویری نائس. تو دس از ہاؤ آئی کین کیلکولیٹ اٹ. ابھی اگر مجھے کیلکولیٹ کرنے کو کہا جائے, آئی ہیڈ ٹو کیلکولیٹ کہ جی جو 100,000 روپیز مجھے 15 سال کے بعد آنے ہیں ان کی کیا ویلیو ہے, آئی کین آلویز ڈو دیٹ. سمپلی آئی ول ہیو ٹو پٹ 15 ہیئر اینڈ آئی ول گیٹ دا آنسر. سو لیٹس ڈو اٹ. 1,00,000 روپیہ جو آپ کے پاس 15 سال بعد آنا ہے, اس کی آج کیا ورتھ ہے؟ جی جناب, کوئی جواب آیا؟ جی عظیم.
سر 23939.481.
Right. So in that case, the answer comes out to be 2393.92 وغیرہ وغیرہ. Do you
23939.
point 2393.92?
23939.481.
نہیں جی, یہ کچھ گڑبڑ کی ہے آپ نے. دیکھ لیں, شاید میری سے غلطی ہوئی, لیکن آئی ڈونٹ تھنک سو.
نہیں, 23939.9.
ایک منٹ, 1,00,000 پہ کیا ہے نا؟
جی 1,00,000 پہ.
ہاں ٹھیک ہے, صحیح کہہ رہے ہیں آپ. تو دس از 23939.2. So if your friend, one of your friends is going to pay you 100,000 rupees after 15 years, it is better that you ask him to pay you 23,939.2 rupees right now and get rid of it. Are you with me on that? Ji Mohsin.
سر یہ تھوڑی سی آئی تھنک کیلکولیشن میں ایشو ہے. یہ جو ہم بات کر رہے ہیں ابھی, میرے پاس جو ویلیو آ رہی ہے دیٹ از 23936 روپیز آلموسٹ, اینڈ آئی ہیو انکلوڈیڈ انٹل 4 ڈیسیمل.
کوئی غلطی کی ہوگی, کیونکہ جو کیلکولیٹر سے ویلیو آ رہی ہے وہ تو یہی آ رہی ہے 23939.20494.
ہاں سر, کیلکولیٹر بھی میں نے 4 ڈیسیمل تک جو ہے نا وہ کیا ہے ڈیوائڈ,
لیکن وہ 6 تو نہیں بن سکتا نا, یہ 39 جو ہے وہ 6 تو نہیں بن سکتا. بٹ اینی ویز
چلیں ٹھیک ہے, وہ کوئی کیلکولیشن مسٹیک ہوگی. دوسرا سر, سفیان might be in office.
اچھا
3-4 days earlier he told me that I'm only able to listen in the office and I cannot participate.
اچھا اچھا,
So that's the reason he might not be participating. He's distant to us, but because office timing تھوڑے odd ہیں تو اس وجہ سے وہ بول نہیں سکتے.
بالکل صحیح ہے جی, بالکل صحیح ہے. اچھا جی, so that means if somebody is promising me big benefits after say a long period of time, I would rather encash that benefit right now and tell him to give me this much money now, and I don't want your money after 15 years, right? So that 100,000 rupees is worth hardly 23,000 or 24,000 rupees today. Got it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If you have understood that, then we can be very comfortable and we can. Okay. Let's get back to our case. Now there is another interesting thing it has done. So we understand what the discount rate is, and we understand that future value is divided by that discount rate, like in like the formula shown here. You see, this is the same formula. Present value is equal to future value in the year t divided by 1 plus r raised to the power t. This is the formula. But can I write it that future value multiplied by 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to the power t? Can I write it like that? Future value multiplied by 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to the power t, just like this. जी जनाब, लिख सकते हैं ना? Good. So we can write it that like that. So this portion of the equation 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to the power t is now called the discount factor. Where r was the discount rate, here we call it the discount factor. जी शहरयार.
सर ये बात दोबारा आप रिपीट कीजिएगा, आपने क्या फरमाया सर अभी? ये कि
सर मैं ये कह रहा हूँ,
आप इस तरह लिख रहे हैं 1 डिवाइडेड बाय 1 प्लस आर टी,
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू फ्यूचर वैल्यू डिवाइडेड बाय 1 प्लस आर रेज टू द पावर टी. So can I write it future value multiplied by 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to the power t? ऐसे लिख सकता हूँ ना?
Yes sir.
So this portion ये जो अलग किया है मैंने, इसको कहते हैं डिस्काउंट फैक्टर, right? और in the discount factor only, look only in the discount factor, there are only two unknowns, two variables which are unknown, r and t. R is the discount factor, discount rate, and t is the number of years. Got it? And if there are only two, unknowns, I can draw a table like this, which is shown here, discount rate table, on which on one axis I can have the value of t, the years. On other axis, I can have the value of discount rate, which is r. So for example, I have calculated for 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15% and for years 1 to 15. So I will put that into the discount factor formula, and whatever answer comes, I will write it at that point. So this will give me a table. This table provides me with a multiplication factor, simple multiplication factor, without any other calculation. I can simply multiply my amount with the requisite discount factor and get my answer. For example, if I am talking about 100,000 rupees after 1 year, then at 10% rate, look, under 10% rate in 1 year you find 0.9091. So simply the value would be 90,910 rupees approximately. If you are talking about 10 years, look, 10 years at 10%, the value is 0.3855 multiplied by 100,000, it will give you 38,550 rupees. For 15 years, it is 23,940 rupees. This is a little rounding off. It is not really very accurate. If we can get this thing down to the accuracy of 5 or 6 figures, then we can even be more accurate. So this table is called NPV discount factor table. And this table is so commonplace that you can find this table in usually almost every book of statistics and accounting. Ji Shahryar. Shahzad, you want to say something?
नहीं सर ठीक है सर. वैसे ये हर ईयर में नॉर्मली जो आपका डिस्काउंट रेट है
हाँ जी,
वो चेंज भी होता है, वो भी मैं शायद आगे ये चीज आएगी.
तो हो जाए ना चेंज, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, क्योंकि मैंने तो मुख्तलिफ परसेंटेजेस निकाल ली ना. 5 हो जाए, 4 हो जाए, 3 हो जाए, 12 हो जाए, 15 हो जाए, ये ऊपर लिखे ना 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. तो आई कैन मेक इट अ स्टैंडर्ड टेबल, जो मर्जी हो जाए डिस्काउंट रेट. आई विल लुक एट द रेलिवेंट वैल्यू एंड आई कैन कैलकुलेट सिंपली.
नहीं सर, मेरा कहने का मतलब ये था कि प्रेजेंट वैल्यू नॉर्मली अगर हम 5 इयर्स की अगर कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं तो उसमें नॉर्मली अभी जो हमने एक्सरसाइज की है उसमें डिस्काउंट रेट स्टैटिक था 10%. लेकिन यूजुअली ये होता है कि ईयर 1 में वेरी करता है. समटाइम डिस्काउंट रेट 5% होता है, अनदर ईयर 8% होता है.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता. जिस वक्त आप लोन लेते हैं उस वक्त डिस्काउंट रेट डिसाइड होता है, और असूलन यही है कि आपका वही डिस्काउंट रेट रहेगा अपने टेन्योर में. लेकिन अभी आजकल बैंकों ने ये कर दिया है कि जी हम विदाउट नोटिस चेंज कर सकते हैं. लेकिन जनरली जो पुराना रूल था वो यही था कि अगर आपने आज 10% के ऊपर पैसे जमा कराए हुए हैं तो आपको 10% के हिसाब से ही मिलते रहेंगे. वो आपका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो गया बैंक के साथ कि मुझे 10% पे देगा, तो वो जितने अरसे के लिए भी वो आपने 10 साल के लिए पैसे जमा कराए हैं तो 10 साल तक आपको 10% पे ही मिलेगा. लेकिन अब वो चूंकि हमारे मुल्क में तो वो दूसरा प्रॉब्लम भी शुरू है ना, उसकी वजह से फिर अब पिछले चंद सालों से ये सिलसिला चल रहा है कि वो उसको चेंज भी कर देते हैं.
ये सर नॉर्मली आजकल सर ऐसे ही हो रहा है कि वो चेंज हो जाता है हर साल.
या तो खैर अगर वो चेंज होता भी है ना, तो अभी भी जो बात मैं कह रहा हूँ ये रूल अभी भी स्टैंड गुड करता है कि आपकी जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अमाउंट हो चुकी है उसको नहीं वो चेंज करेगा, आइंदा आने वाले को चेंज करेगा. तो वो, लेकिन फिर भी एक कैविएट उसमें जरूर है कि गवर्नमेंट कैन डू एनीथिंग एनी टाइम. देखिए ना
लेकिन सर मेरा कहने का मकसद ये था सर कि अगर आपका डिस्काउंट रेट चेंज होता है, ज्यूम कर लें 5 इयर्स में डिफरेंट है
जी,
तो फिर ये जो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू का फॉर्मूला है सर, मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के मुताबिक आपको हर ईयर का इंडिविजुअली निकालना पड़ेगा.
सर मुझे ये बताइए, आप आज बैठे हुए फ्यूचर को प्रेडिक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, आप फ्यूचर की वैल्यू कहां से लेके आएंगे? नहीं है ना आपके पास.
यस सर. तो
इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर मैं इतनी मेहनत करूं और फ्यूचर की वैल्यूज को भी प्रेडिक्ट करूं और उसके हिसाब से करूं और वो सब कुछ गलत हो जाए, बेहतर ये नहीं है कि जैसे अभी हमने पहले कहा था कि इग्नोर द इन्फ्लेशन इफेक्ट, आप उसको इग्नोर कर दें, क्योंकि जो कुछ आप इग्नोर एक प्रोजेक्ट के लिए कर रहे हैं वो बाकियों के लिए भी कर रहे हैं. इफ आई एम कंपेयरिंग 5 projects or 4 projects, then I am ignoring it for all of them, so the behavior will be same on all of them. बात समझ आ रही?
यस सर.
इससे फर्क कोई भी नहीं पड़ेगा. So generally speaking जनाब ये इसका सीन है, and this is how we do the NPV. I will show you in the next diagram, in next slide, how we calculate our project. Now, in front of you are the figures for project 1. In the first column, these are the cash flows of project 1, as we have seen them earlier. In the next column, the discount factor at the rate of 10% for each case is written down there from the table, naturally. जो table अभी आपको दिखाया है, from that table, these values have been extracted for after 1 year, after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And then these things are being multiplied, both of these things are being multiplied to find the discounted cash flow. Discounted cash flow. So, the 100,000 rupees I had invested in year 0, anything raised to the power 0 is G motion.
Equals to 1, sir. Anything raised to the power 0.
Exactly. If
हाँ सर, दो चीजें थी. एक तो ये कि मैं अपने आप को अनम्यूट नहीं कर पा रहा था अगर मैं चाहूँ. दूसरा, हम ये कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट की बात कर रहे थे, तो there was a very interesting question in GAT subject जो कि लिया जाता है PhD की enrollment के लिए.
अच्छा अच्छा.
तो ये compound interest related है कि in how many years the principal amount could become double.
Okay, okay.
तो उसमें ऑप्शंस दी हुई थी मुख्तलिफ 10, 15, 20 और इस तरह से. तो उसके लिए जो रूल ऑफ 72 है दैट इज बीइंग यूज्ड एज अ बेंचमार्क कि आप का जो भी इंटरेस्ट रेट है उसको आप 72 से डिवाइड कर देते हैं तो यू कैन गेट द नंबर ऑफ इयर्स एग्जैक्टली जिसमें प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट जो है आपकी डबल हो जाती है.
अच्छा
जी. दूसरा सर मुझे ये जो हम कर रहे हैं एट द एंड ऑफ द लेक्चर आई प्रिपेयर्ड अ क्वेश्चन जो कि मैं लेक्चर के एंड में ही आपसे पूछूंगा. आई थिंक दूसरा सर ये डिस्काउंट रेट और इंटरेस्ट रेट को जरा अगर आप इलेबोरेट करने के इनमें क्या डिफरेंस है और थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज हो रहा है.
मेरा ख्याल है मैंने बड़ा क्लियरली ये बात आपको बताई है कि
जी सर
there is a bank and I deposit something in my bank account.
Okay sir.
That bank will pay me the interest rate, a fixed interest rate. अगर उन्होंने मुझे 6% देना, they will give me 6%. But what will they do with that money? The simplest answer could be that they will give that money as a loan to you, right? And what interest rate they will charge you?
Maybe 10% or 12%.
Exactly, that is my point. So that is a discount rate. That is a discount rate. For you it is interest, for them it is a discount rate. So they are getting 12%, they are giving me 6%. Where is the other 6% going? That is going to the bank.
As a discount rate.
Exactly. That is their benefit. So they मैं भी खुश, आप भी खुश.
बिल्कुल
ऐसे इतना पैसा जो है उनके पास चला गया. अच्छा ये तो है सिंपल स्टोरी. लेकिन ये ऐसा तो नहीं करते. लोन तो बड़ा मुश्किल बना दिया इन लोगों ने. What they do is they take your money and they invest it into very fruitful ventures. कोई शेयर खरीद लिया, कोई और कर लिया, कोई बड़ा बिजनेस शुरू हो, बिजनेस में डाल दिया, कुछ कर दिया. So once they put business, जी
मेगा प्रोजेक्ट्स में डाल दिया,
and the money they get out of it is not like 10%, 12%, something like that. That is like 100%, 200%. That kind of money is coming to them. So that's why banks keep getting rich. ये वो बनिए की साइंस है ना सारी. बनिए का मतलब तो ये सूद इसीलिए बुरा है ना. This is exactly.
And as they say that banks and casinos are never in the loss. So
exactly, never in the loss. मुल्क को तबाह हो जाए, कुछ हो जाए, आप मर जाए, मगर बैंक अपनी जगह पे खड़ा हुआ है. Right.
Yes, thank you very much.
Most welcome, most welcome. Right. So, if you are all following me, you will find that these are the present values. These are the present values after applying the discounted cash flow. Naturally, the 100,000 rupees I invested remains the 100,000 rupees I invested. But the 10,000 rupees I am going to get after 1 year is worth 9,091 rupees only. The 10,000 rupees I am getting after 2 years is currently worth only 8,264 rupees, and so on and so forth. And if I can somehow add that all up, I will find that NPV I am getting is only 618. Such a low figure. If you compare this NPV with the net profit, you will be amazed. Here we were not, catering for the present value of the money, current value of the money. But in NPV, once we did that, we found out that this is not a fruitful venture at all. This is too low a figure. What if this figure was 0? That means I am making no money at all. And what if this figure was negative? That means I am in loss. This was not even feasible from the present value point of view. So that means the NPV we can calculate for a project could be positive, could be 0, or could be even negative. So the negative simply will fail in the competition. that is not feasible at all, and naturally the positive are feasible, but whichever is the most feasible, the highest value in positive would be selected to be chosen out of these 4 projects, which is the best project. So let us see which that project is. When I apply this net present value thing to all the 4 projects, you can see that project 1 is just 600 and some rupees. Project 2, NPV of project 2 is minus 1,79,750 rupees. This is shocking. This project 2 is worse than anything. Although it was proven in our ROI that this was the worst, but now we know this is not even feasible at all. Project 4 shows us that it is giving us the maximum benefit out of the 4 projects, 21,665, whereas project 3 is 13,723. So the clear winner is project 4. Clear winner is project 4, and even from the ROI point of view, also project 4 was the winner, right? And even in net profit, that was second number, right? And even in what was that payback period, it was again probably first. No, it was second. So this method, which is more detailed, shows clearly that project 4 is winner. And interestingly, we are now able to differentiate between project 1 and project 3, which had same investment, which had same present values, sorry, net profits. So far, we could not differentiate between them except for in the payback period. Payback period was the only one which was showing project 3 to be better than project 1. Now is a clear difference. NPV shows project 3 to be worth 13,723 rupees, whereas project 1 is only 620. You understand this? So this is how we do the NPV. Okay, so far so good. Are you all satisfied with all the methods I have taught you so far? Please raise hands. Okay, wonderful. If you are satisfied, then let us talk about the next method. And the next method is called internal rate of return. So internal rate of return is basically not something which is very different from NPV, but it is very different from NPV as well. Okay, NPV is basically based on the discount rate, which is given by the State Bank of Pakistan, for that matter, in Pakistan. And naturally, if it is in America, the Federal Reserves will be giving us whatever, whoever is controlling their banking system. So discount rate is basically dictated by the bank. So if I'm trying to do a project and I'm trying to find the present value of something, why am I relying on the bank? What my business has to do with the bank? Absolutely nothing. Then why am I using NPV? That is amazing. Why are we using it? What is the benefit I am getting from NPV? The only benefit I get from NPV is, as I've already told you, businesses make much more money than the banks. And banks invest in businesses. Therefore, this is my business. I am doing my business. And the internal rate of return of my business should be good enough. It should not be equal to the bank. It should be more than that. And therefore, I have to ascertain that internal rate of return. I do not have to rely on the bank. because bank is just giving me the minimal value. The only benefit I get from NPV is that if I get something which is even bank is paying more than what I'm able to generate, then probably it is better decision to go for putting that money in the bank rather than doing this business. So I will calculate my business first on NPV, and if my NPV is coming to be zero or less than uh, less than zero, in negative, then I would say that this is completely infeasible. But to better understand and better decide how much is the worth of my project, actually the projects which win out of the NPV, I can take them to the further hardcore testing and put them under an internal rate of return. What do we do in internal rate of return? We use exactly the same method what we used in NPV, but we do not use the discount rate given by the bank. Right. How do we do that? If I am not trying to use, I'm saying I will not use the discount rate given by the bank, then what rate I will be using? I don't know. I want to find that rate on which my project shows maximum strength. So it is kind of a hit and trial. But what results do I want to see? I don't know. But I know one thing, that if I know that percentage at which my NPV becomes zero, I don't know the discount rate. So I will have to, hit and try. But what I'm trying to find, I am trying to find the NPV value equal to zero. That means I have discovered the break-even point of my project. That is the percentage beyond which my project is in benefit. So to do that, this is not a very easy job. I will have to do the hit and trial. I will try my project, all the NPV calculations on say 8%, 9%, 10%, 11%. So I will repeatedly do these calculations and I will try to find where my value changes from negative to positive. For example, this value changes between 13 and 14%. 13 is giving me a negative 2000 value, and 14 is giving me a positive 20,000 value. That means my uh, IRR is lying somewhere in between these two values. So I will try 13.5. 13.5 gives me a positive value. So I say, okay, less than 13.5. So I will try 13.25. So I will hit and try, and ultimately I will discover that percentage at which my NPV exactly becomes zero. That is the point which is called internal rate of return. This shows the internal strength of my business, internal worth of my business. So this is not related with the bank. This is related to my business own strength. So internal rate of return is the most detailed method. But in financial sectors, there is a lot of debate and discussion, which is better because those people who are in banking, they will always prefer NPV. But if you are not in banking and you are trying to do your own work or business, then probably you would love to have IRR. And it is a very difficult method also because there's a lot of hit and trial involved. Manually, you are not able to calculate anything, but you can use simulations or computers to simulate for you and find the IRR of your project, right? Or if you want to do it manually, then I'll give you a rule. The rule is whatever value you find on 8%, 9%, 10%, and whatever. So when you calculate and plot these values on a graph, showing the positive values above zero and negative values below zero, your if you connect these dots, the line will be a straight line. right? So say, then why should I try 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? I should only try 8 and 12 maybe, the extreme values, and just join with a straight line and see where it crosses the percentage line. So I see that this crosses somewhere between 10.24. So let us try 10.24 on this project, and that will approximately give you the zero value. Then I can do a little bit hit and trial and find the exact value, but this is a good way of doing it. Now, why a straight line? Actually, this is not a straight line. Actually, this is something like this. It will just appear in your screen. Can you see the yellow diagram? Actually, this is a kind of a curve, and this curve is almost like a straight line. If I link these 2 points, this point and that point, the straight line will pass a little above this line. So I am this at least brings me very near to my answer. So if I can reduce a little, I will get my actual IRR. So we will calculate the IRR of all the projects, all the 4 projects, and whichever IRR is the most one, the highest IRR is the best project. So more the IRR, better it is. So this concludes my discussion on the cost benefit analysis. Any questions so far? जी मोहसिन, माइक आपका अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
जी जी बिल्कुल.
हाँ सर, माय क्वेश्चन वाज दिस कि हम ये कॉस्ट के और टाइम के हवाले से करते हैं
जी जी
एनालिसिस सारे, बट प्रैक्टिकली स्पीकिंग देयर इज डिले इन ऑलमोस्ट इन एवरी प्रोजेक्ट लाइक और कंस्ट्रक्शन, आईटी और ऑयल फील्ड से रिलेटेड जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं उनमें ज़्यादा है. मतलब कंस्ट्रक्शन में नॉर्मली जैसे कि 65% are delayed और आईटी के अंदर 70% are delayed.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
ऑल्दो के हम अपने नॉलेज को प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट के इवॉल्व कर रहे हैं. कॉस्ट ओवर रन प्रोजेक्ट जो है उनके लिए हमने प्रिंस 2 किया, टाइम ओवर रन के लिए एजाइल टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई. लेकिन स्टिल मतलब इट्स अ रियल प्रॉब्लम. मतलब काफी सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो कि 10 साल लेट भी हुए और 400 टाइम्स उनकी कॉस्ट भी बढ़ी. There are various examples around the globe. So sir, even UK गवर्नमेंट ने तो एक मतलब प्रोजेक्ट एश्योरेंस के नाम से इदारा बनाया just to make sure कि projects don't go cost overrun or time overrun. So what is the sir permanent solution for this cost overrun and time overrun?
You see, we are constantly learning, and we do have a lot many methods now to improve that. As you said, people have been trying to find solution to that, and we have found a lot many solutions. The problem now is that we who are doing the project management are not even using the known methods. Right? I told you yesterday about critical chain method. Critical chain method and buffering is a very effective tool against delay of the project. Your projects will never delay if you are applying critical chain method appropriately. Will never delay. But the problem is we don't understand. And this critical chain method is based on theory of constraint. Theory of constraint says that a chain is as strong as its weakest link. That is the basic premise to that. That find the fault and fix that. Do not try to fix everything. We are wasting a lot of money doing unnecessary improvements. You know, if your projects are being delayed, you say, okay, let's get everybody trained by spending this much money. That is not exactly the solution. Put your money where the mouth is. So try to find Is it the problem with the people or the system or whatever? So try to find your weakest link and then strengthen that. Only then the problem will be over. And critical chain method provides us that kind of tool. It is asking you to find your weakest link. Your weakest link in a project is your critical path. You don't want it to get delayed. So protect the critical path. It has created buffers. And to protect other paths, it has created feeding buffers. So this is one way of doing it, and there are many other ways. You can be careful, you can take certain precautions and all that. So all those things, if you are proactive, and also risk management is the biggest thing. Risk management can protect you from almost anything. Risk simulations like Monte Carlo analysis, sensitivity analysis, all those actually will provide you enough warning before the risk can occur, and you can be well protected beforehand. Having said all that, still projects is uncharted territory. There is still some uncertainty in the project, and that uncertainty would never be clarified because projects are going to be unique. Projects are going always to be uncertain. You are always going to be doing something new. So some inherent delays and cost overruns will always remain there. You can always try to reduce them as much as possible, but you can't do nothing if God wants not you not to succeed. You understand my point?
Okay, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you very much. That was a very brief and good answer. Thank you
Wonderful,
very much.
wonderful. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to the next portion, that is defining each one of these processes. Although this is not really very complicated, but probably we won't be able to complete it by next 20 minutes. But I will try to venture on with the plan cost management. Plan cost management is just like plan schedule management, exactly like that. Nothing different from that, except for this is dealing with cost and that was dealing with schedule. So, plan cost management is a process that establishes the guidelines, the policies, procedures, and all that for planning, managing, spending, and controlling the project cost. So, the key benefit is it provides you the guidance and direction on how to do the project cost processes, all of the processes, you get the guidance for that, how they will be managed throughout the life of the project. And the ultimate result of that, the output of this process would be a cost management plan, which which is going to be forming part of the overall project management plan, and it describes how the project cost will be planned, structured, and controlled. Meaning what? All the processes subsequently coming in this knowledge area, like estimate cost, determine budget, control cost, how these three jobs will be done, the detailed instructions are provided in the cost management plan. Although at the time when the cost management plan was created, we did not know how much each activity will cost. This would be estimated in the estimate cost process, which will be done in accordance with the guidance provided by cost management plan. So the cost management processes and their associated tools and techniques are also documented in the cost management. What are the tools, various tools and techniques you can use for cost management? So full manual is prepared, cost management plan, which is guiding you to how to do the remaining three processes. So the key concepts in project cost management, what are they? Project cost management is primarily concerned with the cost of the resources, as I said before, whether they are living resources or non-living resources needed to complete project activities. Every activity will use certain resources, certain human resources, certain machines, certain tools, certain raw material. So calculate everything, what all is needed for doing that job, and sum up the cost of all these items, and that would give you the cost of that activity. Sum of all the activities in a work package, that will give you the total amount of amount required for doing that work package. Sum up all the work packages, and that will give you the cost control account. Sum up all the control accounts, and that will give you the money required for doing this project. And then you can also keep some management reserves on top, and that is your total project budget. Project cost management should consider the effect of project decisions on the subsequent recurring cost of using, maintaining, and supporting the product, service, or result of the project. So when you are doing the cost management, you must also consider how this product is going to be installed, how this product is going to be used, operated on, what will be the expenses there. So the whole cost benefit analysis should also be done. For example, limiting the number of design reviews can reduce the cost of project but could increase the resulting product's operating cost. We don't want to reduce the project cost if it is going to ultimately increase the operating cost, right? So we want to have an appropriate solution in which the project cost is also appropriate, but we also yield the maximum benefit which was expected from this project. Another aspect of cost management is recognizing that different stakeholders measure project cost in different way and at different times. As we have already given the example, like cost of an acquired item may be measured when the acquisition decision is made or committed, the order is placed, the item is delivered, or the actual cost is incurred or recorded for project accounting purposes. So everybody will have their own way of measuring. Every stakeholder has its own expectations. In many organizations, predicting and analyzing the prospective financial performance of the product is performed outside of the project. So, organization may take on the responsibility of doing the overall prediction and analysis for financial purposes. As far as the cost itself is concerned, this is done by the project manager. He estimates along with his team the project costs, but the financing decisions, funding decisions are coming from outside of the project, that is from the organization. Therefore, the estimate budget is their responsibility. Determining budget is their responsibility because that is to be gaining a consensus with the project team. In others, such as a capital facilities project cost management can include this work. If it is a huge project, then maybe the budgeting arm is part of the project, and budgeting people are sitting right within the project. That is a possibility in bigger, larger projects, self-accounting projects. When such predictions and analysis are included, the project cost management may address additional processes and numerous general financial management techniques such as return on investment, discounted cash flow, and investment payback analysis, etc. So you see, if we are doing a kind of a projectized environment we have, and we are doing the cost management for a self-accounting project, probably the people who are determining the budget are also existing within the project, and they are working under the project manager to allocate the various budgets. So that is one possibility for large projects. What are the various trends and emerging techniques? Within the practice of cost management, trends include the expansion of earned value management to include the concept of earned schedule. First of all, do we understand that earned value management is to be used on projects? So far, earned value management is being considered as an option. Most of the organizations on their projects do not understand and do not use earned value management, which is a fantastic method. They are using still the age-old percentage progress method, which is very faulty. This gives you only progress of time, and that too is not accurate. And there is no relationship of the time progress with the cost. How much money is to be spent? Someone else unrelated with the scheduled performance is doing the cost estimates and cost control, and there is no linkage between the schedule progress and the cost progress. Therefore, that is not a very effective method. If we have to be effective, we probably have to marry up the scope, time, and cost together as if they can somehow be measured in one single method, and that method is earned value management. And if they have to be measured in one single method, then that single method should have single unit of measurement. So either we can have time to measure everything, scope, time, and cost, or cost to measure everything. So as time is usually not measured in time, they in progress report they measure it in percentages, and percentages is a faulty method. And ultimately, if we use earned value, then why should we not be measuring everything in terms of money? Monetary estimations are done, that is earned value management, which we'll be studying. But it is saying that even the concept of earned value management, if used properly, is also evolving, and it has now included earned schedule. How much schedule you have earned and what is your forecast. To estimate the forecast of time, that is called earned schedule. So that method is given in the practice standard for earned value management, and if you are interested you can learn it from there, but if I can also give you a hint about it later. This earned schedule is an extension to the theory and practice of earned value management. Earned schedule theory replaces the schedule variance measures used in traditional earned value management with earned schedule and actual time. Using the alternative equations for calculating schedule variance, which is earned schedule minus 80, if the amount of earned schedule is greater than 0, then the project is considered ahead of schedule. In other words, the project earned more than planned at a given point in time. The schedule performance index using earned schedule matrix, that is ES divided by 80, that is earned schedule divided by actual uh, time. This indicates the efficiency with which work is being accomplished. So we'll talk about it when we are talking earned value calculations. We'll be doing that. So earned schedule theory also provides formulas for forecasting the project completion date using earned schedule, actual time, and estimated duration. How can we tailor the cost? There are a number of tailoring considerations. Because each project is unique, the project manager may need to tailor the way the cost management processes are applied. So the considerations for tailoring include: number one, knowledge management. Does the organization have a formal knowledge management and financial database repository that a project manager is required to use and that is readily accessible? This is somewhere where the efficiency gets increased. If you do have a knowledge management mechanism, and that is exactly why PMI in its 6th edition, PMBOK, they have included the integration process of knowledge management. So your own lessons learned within the project you gain, this is all put into the knowledge base, all the repositories, all the data is there, and you can make certain decisions based on that. Estimating and budgeting. Does the organization have existing formal or informal cost estimating and budgeting related policies, procedures, and guidelines? That is very important. If organizational policies do exist, and naturally they do exist in many organizations, that would be inherited by the project and that could be used. Earned value management, another very important part. Does the organization use earned value management in managing projects? Most organizations do not. Even when this is a very popular method right now, this is uh, agreed by internationally, globally, that this method will improve your performance. Still, many organizations are still not using it. And the latest trend is use of agile approach. Does the organization use agile methodologies in managing projects? How does this impact cost estimating? So, guess is yours. You are doing in small iterations and you can easily control cost of each iteration, although we are not talking about the whole project because we cannot estimate the whole project. Governance. Does the organization have formal or informal audit and governance policies, procedures, and guidelines? This governance will ensure from top that all the policies which have been given, they are being followed and things are going in accordance to what was planned. So these are the tailoring considerations. Some considerations for agile only. Projects with high degrees of uncertainty are those where scope is not yet fully defined, may not benefit from detailed cost calculations due to frequent changes. Instead, lightweight estimation methods can be used to generate a fast, high-level forecast of project labor cost, which can then be easily adjusted as changes arise. Detailed estimates are reserved for short-term planning. So, the overall planning we do is just an approximate planning, high-level planning, and it is not that detailed. The detailed planning we are doing only for an iteration. Every iteration we start, we do detailed planning for that, and this is a very effective way of doing it. So detailed estimates are reserved for short-term planning horizons in a just-in-time fashion in cases where high variability of projects are also subject to strict budgets. The scope and schedule are more often adjusted to stay within cost constraints. So these are some points you must consider from agile point of view if you are planning your cost. Right. I would like to leave the remaining lecture for tomorrow because the processes we'll discuss tomorrow, and we will also discuss earned value management tomorrow. So after we are done with cost, then we are left with a lot, but naturally that is not that heavy. Any comments so far? Any questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, I'll call it a day. Thank you very much for listening to me, and see you tomorrow at the same time. Today we were late. Tomorrow we, inshallah, will not be late. See you tomorrow. Thank you and take care. The Hafiz.